Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to ELO Hell's GitGud Season 7. It's Expert Division time after an absolute banger of a matchup down there in the Rookie Division. It's time for Chimp Club versus Team Grim. I'm Corbeck, joined here by Acronator with Samter, DeLuca, and Capslock handling our production side of things as we get ready to go in. And Acronator, I know for a fact that you have the inside track here on at least one of these teams.
Yep, I am vividly familiar with a good amount of the Chimp Club, aside from, I think, one of their DPS who I am not quite familiar with. So I'll be judging them especially harshly just to make sure things are fair coming into this. I do also know some trivia that their manager managed to tell me prior. They are currently, I believe, 3-5 in their standings, but most of their losses are due to forfeits because of scheduling. So it's hard to say where they actually stack up in terms of skill, but I'm sure they'd love to get an extra win on their repertoire for this season, despite all the bad scheduling. Looks like Lijiang Tower is going to be the first map as well.
What a surprise! Lijiang Tower, the first Koth map, and it does seem to be, well, everybody's favorite Koth map after all these years to continue going back to that well. But we saw a Koth earlier on that was straightforward. I don't think I particularly see anything different coming out here.
Yeah, for the most part, each round has a pretty standardized meta that's been happening over the past, few months now at this point. Control
Yeah.
Center, you'd expect to see that Symmetra, either Junkrat or May with the Reinhardt. Night Market, expect to see the Teleporter, and then Gardens, you can see maybe a little bit of variation between like the Brawl Reinhardt compositions versus like a double bubble if teams want to get a little bit funky with it. I would not be too shocked to see Chimp Club try and play the Winston as much as possible. I know their main tank, Pongo, he likes to play a decent amount of Winston if given the opportunity. But they could
He will
surprise
have
us.
that opportunity. I mean, he does have that opportunity on, right? You could easily in some of the as meta as it was at certain times, right? Especially on Night Market, it gets a little bit harder to run there, but certainly you can run a Winston on our control. Garden if you want to. You don't want to run him on control. That's the one where you don't want to Winston. No, Brian Zarya all the way is what you want right there, and you don't want to change that particular mixture up very much. But it will certainly be an interesting map. Like you said, Chimp Club is a bit of an unknown factor, right? Because you said so many of their losses have come off of just scheduling purpose forfeits that it's a little bit hard to really get a measure on where they are. Meanwhile, I mean, Team Grim on their own are not a bad side, right? They're sitting at a very similar scoreline right now. I think they're about 3-4. Again, we don't have the information about whether or not those are related to forfeits or not, but theoretically on paper, that makes these teams about equal. So it'll be interesting to see if Chimp Club has this kind of hidden reserve that they've been holding on to because of all these forfeits. Now would be the time to go ahead and power that bad boy up.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll get an idea of where they stand, I suppose, compared to each other in just a few minutes while they get the lobby ready and whatnot. I believe one of the teams was a little bit late getting into the lobby, so they're probably getting everything organized there. In particular, see, I believe their comfort zones, according to their team cards, are rather similar for the most part.
Yeah, I believe they are, and I think this is actually Lijiang Tower here, and I'll just do my little glance to the side to make sure I'm right. But I think Lijiang Tower is listed at least as the favorite control map for Team Grim. Chimp Club, they don't have it listed. They don't have any listed, so we're not really sure. They're the black box here in terms of map preference, but at least, I mean, we can assume, right, coming into Lijiang Tower, that most teams, like I said at the beginning, they like this map. They feel comfortable here in terms of control. I think out of all the control maps, it probably gets the most play in lower ranking organized leagues, like this level of organized leagues. So it's a map that's going to be intimately familiar to these guys, especially now this late in Overwatch's lifetime. You would expect them to have a pretty good grasp of what needs to be done here. Now, that being said, I mean, we talked a little bit about whether or not you can run Winston and what have you, but we know for a fact, and we mentioned this at the beginning of the rookie division broadcast, but the meta is a little in flux right now, right? We're looking at a situation in which it seems like, at the highest tiers, teams are still running some very different looking comps. Things down here in the, T4 scene, T5 scene, they haven't quite caught up with it yet. We're still seeing some shifts and some changes. So I mean, I wonder how teams will kind of adapt as time goes by to the changes that are being put into play.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, there's a good amount of variety even in the top level of play. Maybe less so now with the hero bans currently in the Overwatch League.
Very
But we're
true.
seeing we're seeing a good amount of flexibility when there's no hero bans in play. Outside of Lijiang Tower, when we get towards like other maps that allow for more flexibility. Outside of individual rounds, we could see things like the stereotypical mimicry brawl, but then you have things like double bubble that have been propping up here and there.
Yep.
You have the wrecking ball compositions, which are coming back alive from earlier this year, back towards like December, January. So it's really going to allow these teams to uh, show their stuff, I suppose, and get more into their comfort zones. Lijiang is just going to give us a brief understanding of where their comfort zones are.
Well, speaking of comfort zones, our first map here will Control Tower comfort zone in the sense that it really does behoove play that straight up brawl, right? So we should be Ryan Zarya coming out from both sides, and you'll see already kind of the short delay here between picking as we try and figure out exactly what we're gonna see revealed to us. And I wait with bated breath. And well, okay, on the left hand side for Chimp Club, I can't help but feel like maybe actually on both these sides I can't help but feel like we're getting a little bit joked. Yeah, there we go. Pongo switches off from Dog immediately. But good guy, he's sticking on Sigma.
Yeah, so that is a variance that I've seen occasionally. Generally, when it happens, in this case, Team Grim, if they run out on it, they're going to want to play a little bit more poke-oriented. They're going to want to kite Chimp Club and try to avoid a direct confrontation. Actually, see Toasty Toast go over to the Sigma as well. So neither of these teams want to get extremely brawly like you could with Zarya.
No, they'll go straight into the control center here. Toasty Toast trying to push out right there. Finds a potential victim there around the point, but Yif, he gets one already. Jason trades right back out, but still the kill's not coming down in favor of Chimp Club. Just less bodies to play with now, and Good Guy will go ahead and finish them off.
Yeah, it was kind of a battle of playing to your strength versus playing against them. Chimp Club ran straight forward, press W on a composition that, like I just said, it's a little bit more difficult because you don't have the ability to find value being straight in the opponent's faces as opposed to taking a little bit more poke damage like you would with a Sigma.
And they'll go straight back into it here on the point. Out comes the amplification matrix. Already the kills flying in. Hydration, Good Guy getting two big ones there. Triumphant adding two more to the total with the big swings on the hammer, and that'll be Chimp Club escorted right back out the front door. Now the push will come up to the lobby.
The one silver lining here for Chimp Club thus far is that they're taking these fights ridiculously fast, which I think is to be expected. I mean, these are all, GM 3900 plus teams, so they're going to be able to take these fights rather quick, so they're going to have a lot more opportunities to take control of the point, but they do need to actually win some of these eventually. They're taking so much damage from Yif.
Pongo comes surging in here through the door to the center control room. Already, though, the Gravitic is invested here. No real big payoff on that. Good shatter coming in from Pongo. The immortality there, though. That's going to force a barrier coming out from Hydrangea, and it's going to be a good barrier indeed. The Gravitic coming up from Toasty Toast. Down comes the victims of Toasty Toast's Gravitic, and he gets a couple of kills off of it as well. A beautiful accretion there, point blank onto Hydrangea. And Toasty Toast is trying to win it out on his own, but he will not do it. Guard cleans up 2 kills there on the support, though Chaos still fighting with that Symmetra, still trying to cook it away. Just goes ahead and invests the barrier, because why not? Chaos is shattered here, but the block, it's there from Pongo. He saves the Symmetra's life. The sound barrier invested now to keep everyone alive, and they're still fighting to keep Pongo up in the midst of all of this. Chaos here fighting tight now around the pillar, has that beam at a high damage ramp indeed, finally forced to reload, throwing turrets out there just to be a nuisance. It is up to 99% on the clock. The pressure coming in fast now. Pongo gets one. Triumphant goes down as well, and Chaos, the hero of the hour, just drives them back.
That was extremely scrappy, and unfortunately for Chimp Club, now they're going to have a perfect defense. There is no more room for mistakes and losing any more fights because Team Grim is already at 99%. They're not even in one-fight territory. They're just, if they get a clean fight, the round is done, and we're going to a different round in Lijiang. So realistically, Chimp Club are going to have to play very aggressive like they have been, but also very clean, which is a difficult thing to do.
Oh, the teleporter drops him right in front of the amplification matrix. Good guy is pinned into a wall and smashed. Pongo making all the plays right there, and Triumphant is finished off as well. And Team Grimm's initial foray here does not go as expected.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they had to do. Like I said, it's difficult to play fast and nearly perfect, but Chimp Club did it right there. They're going to need to do that for like 4 or 3-ish more fights, which is difficult, but not impossible. They just need to play their cards right.
Barrier coming out, the counter barrier coming out right away. The Gravitic does go up here, and you'll see a very aggressive positioning taken by Good Guy there, trying to fight their way into it. Still alive here, waiting for Pew Pew to get his ult, but Pongo unfortunately goes down early on. The block there with the shield, not enough. Jockin gets taken out now. A couple of turrets thrown onto the point. Chaos trying to hold off as best they can. Still, Yif the Fox is in once again, cranking out the damage on the Junkrat, and I think that probably seals the deal. You'll see an attempted touch coming out from Pongo. Toasty Toast just cannot even make it close to the point. He will be knocked down, and Jockin just gets shattered at point blank range and finished off.
Yeah, there's only so much he can do as a tracer in that case. I think Jason did a pretty decent job of trying to stall out as much as he could. If he could have built up to a pulse bomb, maybe see something come out of it, but otherwise it just slowly came into Team Grimm's favor. And like I said, if Chimp Club lost any fight from that point onwards, it was going to be a pretty demanding victory for Control Center. But this is a new round, and Control Center is kind of the odd man out in terms of Lijiang rounds. So if there's ever going to be an opportunity for Chimp Club to kind of come back and shift their playstyle a bit, I kind of doubt they're running out on the Winston Sigma. Yeah, probably closer to a double bubble. This looks rather normal. Actually seeing traditional Shadow Dive come out from Team Grimm, so I'll be interested to see how they approach this, because that hasn't necessarily been meta for better part of a year.
The Shadow Dive indeed is always interesting to see exactly how that roll. Pongo pushing up here straight towards Good Guy, flanking around the outside edge, trying to get an early pick there on Chaos. Won't really find it. Good Guy OJ Hio still fighting it out on the front line, gets a couple of shots there, starts to back up just a little bit, but it will be Pongo who goes down first. Good Guy loses the mech almost right away. Good Guy crushed into the dirt by Toasty Toast at point blank range. Shots coming out from Wesley here back on the bridge, just trying to keep the team up through all of this. Hydrangea did trade out a kill here, but not before Guard went off the edge of the map. Toasty Toast, though, on the front line, doing a great job on the Zarya, keeping things secure there and filling in where Pongo can't.
And this really comes down again to a difference in play styles, where the double bubble from the Chimp Club plays a little bit more like a brawl composition. They're allowed to get in your face, whereas Team Grimm really just want to play a little bit further back, poke, and build up the MP Blossom.
Chaos nearly here at attack visor. Speaking of building up ults, Chaos firing some more shots down range there, just looking for an initial pick, doesn't quite find one yet. Wesley coming up here on the Nano, and Shu was incredibly there, backed out just in time to reset. Now they're playing a little bit tighter here. Chaos is being forced back just a little bit, does drop the heal pad, now pops the attack visor. Pongo with the great play on the bridge gets Guard. Yif is taken down as well. Pongo takes Hydrangea and buries him in the corner right there. Now the dive coming in from Pongo over the back. He'll try and add another one to the total, but they barely even need it. Good Guy is wiped from the face of the map. Well played.
Yeah, and even more crucially is that Chimp Club really didn't use too many ultimates. They just used the attack visor and the primal rage, so they're gonna have grab as well as pulse bomb. Wesley dropped off the map. It looks like, yeah, it looks like there was a disconnect there of some sort, internet troubles. So he aimlessly wandered off the map without any control from the keyboard, so to speak. It happens.
Unfortunate too, when you think about the fact that if he DCs from the game, he's DCing with his nano boost. So
yeah,
that is unfortunate indeed. Did not have the opportunity to get that off there before the disconnect came in. So an ult lost on the board in addition to the disconnect. But we will take a pause here and give them the chance to get back into the lobby. Now, the Chimp Club that we're seeing on this Gardens Point Acronator looks a lot more convincing than what we saw on the last Control Center map.
Yeah, well, now they're playing a composition that can actually roll with their hyper-aggressive play style. The double bubble, like I said, plays similar to a brawl, except with a monkey instead of a Reinhardt. So it allows them to get into their opponent's faces, especially with that Zarya. If they
Right.
wanted to play that hyper-aggressive style on Control Center, I'm kind of surprised they didn't play the Zarya along with the Reinhardt. But it's neither here nor there. They lost that round, but they're looking really solid this round thus far. And assuming Team Grim is staying on to this Shadow Dive, their win condition for that composition, if for those who don't remember or weren't around back then, it's really just building up the DPS ultimates and using them in tandem. You want to toss out the Death Blossom, EMP
Yeah.
so they can't answer it, and basically a free team kill, at least in the mirror matchup. It might be a little bit more difficult against varying compositions like Double Bubble, because that composition didn't really exist back when Shadow Dive
Yeah.
was a thing.
It's interesting to note as well, right? We've seen a little bit of a when those initial engagements, it hasn't gone Chimp Club's way. And a large reason for that is they do have that Reaper present on the field, which is making life a little bit difficult there for Winston when he does the initial engage, at least. I think we saw that illustrated a couple of times, but really, Toasty Toast has been kind of filling in that gap to a certain extent, right? On that, Zarya has been doing a very good job of stepping up. It does look like we do have the reconnect here from Wesley. Maybe the nano boost will be preserved. I'm not entirely sure, but the bomb comes up. Pew Pew is down. Hydrangea gets another one. There's that Reaper coming into its own fruition right there. Chaos is very low, burned down by Triumphant. And that signals a flip on the point at 81%.
Yep. However, it is 81%, so Chimp Club are just outside of that one fight territory if they can win this upcoming fight, which they do actually retain the Nano Boost, which is good for them, so they can come in with both of their support ultimates, Nano Boost Pongo or possibly Chaos, and just do a ton of damage.
Well, they're going to push straight on to the point here. They want to fight in this point area by the looks at it. Chaos is kind of getting pressured here, moving up to the bridge. They might be trying to stop him from re-engaging, but it's Hydrangea who dies first. Still, Primal Rage in the pocket, but Chaos and Jack and they are going to get 2 kills off the bat. Good guy OJ tries to trade back there and take out Pew Pew, but it's just not enough. Chaos on that flank making more work right there as Toasty Toast and Jason both clock in, and a very solid fight win pushes it up past the 85% mark.
Yeah, Team Grim should be able to recontest with the little bit of time they have remaining, but it's not going to be the cleanest of fights. They're going to have to kind of scramble to get onto point, and there are some things that Chimp Club can do to prevent it from happening, like the rally, the pulse bomb, there you go.
Oh, the pulse bomb to start just takes Triumphant out of the affair. There will be no Triumphant reverie. And now the smashing coming out here from Pongo, juggling him around, just trying to keep him discombobulated, disoriented, and off the point. He even makes a dive into the spawn, but he'll jump right back onto the point and go for his opposite number, Triumphant, who did touch but did get brought down. And that is a stage pickup right there for Chimp Club to push it to 1-1.
Yeah, definitely. That was, quite frankly, a statement, if there ever was one, that they're going to be more comfortable onto these Winston compositions. They definitely seem to like to play the double bubble. Toasty Toast is pretty nasty Zarya thus far.
Yeah.
And if they can create more space like that, let Jason and Chaos just kind of do their things off in these odd flanks, then it seems to be working rather well.
Yeah, it's been telling, right? Guard, and an interesting compositional changeup coming out here. You'll see kind of this swap over to Briggs Zen. Oh no, it's going to be a Mercy Zen. Ooh, so really kind of leaning into a dive style right there. That's an interesting choice indeed. Meanwhile, on the point, Hydrangea did throw out the teleporter, so they're already touching here, and Chimp Club will have their work cut out from them. Goodbye, Chaos. He got caught looking at Triumphant right there, and it's back to us. Because I think there might be a DC coming in or something to do with the pause right there.
Yeah,
So we're back.
We're back for a brief period. As, from what we just saw, Chaos inadvertently jumped into a fire strike. I'm not sure how that one tasted, but probably not good. It sent him back to spawn.
Yeah, probably not great. He'll send that back to the what he'll do. But unfortunately, Chimp Club do look like they're a little bit outmatched here in terms of compositions. I just don't know how this pure dive is going to look trying to get onto this point of Nightmark.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult as opposed to the I believe it was Team Grim was running like a stereotypical Reinhardt Symmetra teleporter strat. The difficult
Yeah.
part there is that the dive needs to be able to divide and conquer the brawl, but Night Market in particular, the point being a literal box. It quite literally boxes people in. It makes it easier for these brawls to stick together, and it's very hard to single any individual out. So it's gonna be an uphill battle, but not impossible. We did see Jason on the Pharah with a Mercy Pocket from Pew Pew, so there is a good amount of potential for raining death in from like these off angles. But he's gonna need to be able to rotate around the point and actually find those angles, and it's not exactly the easiest thing to do. So
Yeah,
it's really gonna be on the DPS.
I was just gonna say that the angles are gonna be real telling. Uh, Back here, they only really down body. Yif was off and out here as well. So Nara Tramp still holding on as Jason, well, he'll just jump up over the top, going and trying to destroy the teleporter there, and he's thinking maybe about using the concussion missile, but he'll just back up a little bit, continuing to pump shots in from the outside, just wants to find a pick, but it's not coming, has to be very careful, because Yif actually swaps over to the McCree, comes rolling out of spawn, and does a ton of damage to the Pharah right there. He'll rotate in on another side, he's trying to get the Baptiste here, he won't find it, Guard managing to jump away from danger, and now Jackin is just taken down on the front line. Toasty Toast did manage to get some trades in there for it as well. The res was already used to get Pongo back in the fight, so they will not have that option should they choose to use it. Now straight on the point goes Toasty Toast, wastes no time at all going for the contest, and again, Guard is really just the target of all their anger, and Toasty Toast, well, he gets sent right off the back of the point. You won't even try, I don't even think he could booster rocket back up.
If Chimp Club wants to run this dive composition, I'd almost expect them to play a Winston as opposed to the Wrecking Ball, because the way the Wrecking Ball is supposed to be played is really just displacement as opposed to any amount of damage they might put in. Chaos getting caught out in the flank there. But when you, again, look at the point, it's just a giant box, and there's not really anywhere to boop anyone, so the Wrecking Ball is going to have a really rough time. The upside being that the Minefield is a rather valuable target for ultimate in such a small area.
Bomb and Minefield will actually combine right there, but no kills to be had, really. Instead, it's Yif who takes Pongo out, and Toasty Toast goes down early as well. And now they're going to go ahead and invest. He Justice rates from above, but it only gets one. Chasing back and back out. Does manage to add Hydration to the list. Might actually get another one here, but not without the loss of Pew Pew. Nearly lost all their health. Finally managed to touch the health back, but they were determined to kill the D.Va right there. Now bodies are coming back on. I'm sorry, to kill the Pharah as the D.Va does get demeched on point. Pongo here now rotating around, trying to look for some sort of environmental kill. Instead, he rolls right into the worst kind of car wash possible for a Wrecking Ball. And now a Transcendence and a Valkyrie being unleashed on point here, just trying to keep things alive. But really, it's a hope in vain right there as Yif just pivots around and annihilates the Echo trying to come in through the front door. There is a last-minute touch here, a little bit of contest from Chaos, but it is not to be Acronator. This one is done and dusted.
Definitely not. Team Grim just played their win conditions better, especially on Control Center and Night Market. Those rounds felt rather one-sided for the most part. Ironic since the Gardens felt one-sided in their own regard. Toasty Toast getting play of the game here. I'm not sure what this could be. I guess just Flux and vanilla kills.
The accretion was pretty good.
It was,
he did do a good job fighting his way onto that point. He kept him alive right there.
Looks like Blizzard World is the next map pick. A bit unorthodox compared to, say, like Eichenwald or Kings Row. But I'm all for it. You know? Usually it's extremely rare that we'll see anything other than Kings Row, but I don't know. I guess too much of a good thing can feel stale at times. I like to see the potential high ground play that we get to see from Blizzard World. Unsurprisingly, Team Grim is picking the defense. It's pretty standard for teams that are up in the series.
Yeah, it makes sense as well. So they will flip sides here. Team Grim going over Defenders, Chimp Club now being forced into attacking position. Now, if Chimp Club wants to run that dive that they were showing there on Lijiang Night Market, now this would be a better map for them to do it. I just don't think compositionally that was the right choice for them to have made. And I think we saw that in the fact that they weren't really able to get much traction.
Yeah, again, like the wrecking ball just can't really do anything in a tight corridor like that. It's similar in a lot of ways to trying to play a wrecking ball in like Nepal Village, for example. It's just this tight little square of an arena that doesn't let you really do anything. Looks like we're going to be getting into the lobby in just a minute here. But in the meantime, if they wanted to run more of those like double bubbles or the wrecking ball compositions, Blizzard World is definitely a map where you can run those in all 3 points. So I'd
Yeah.
expect Chimp Club to come out a bit more brazen this time around. They can actually play to the tempo and the style that they want.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really important for them as well. I mean, if they're going to try this square peg round hole, you got to get more square holes basically, or you're going to run into some serious trouble. Team Grim on the other side, I mean, I think we saw pretty much just standard stuff from them across the board. That little variation
Yeah.
there of playing the Sigma on Control Center, but otherwise, there wasn't really anything I would say that was too out of the ordinary. The Shadow Dive attempt on Gardens was interesting, but I mean, to their credit, they were sort of making it work. I think the key problem they had is they never really got the big combo off, right? We never saw them hit that EMP Death Blossom, which is what we were looking for the entire time.
Yeah, I think even eventually towards the end, they swapped off to like a tracer, so now your entire win condition is gone, and you're
Yeah.
not going to get any value out of the Death Blossom. So there's a little bit of awkwardness there, but they definitely seem comfortable in like the more stereotypical compositions outside of the Shadow Dive. So if they wanted to run something cheeky here on defense, say like double shield, I wouldn't be too shocked. However, that does also kind of play into Chimp Club's play style, where they could actually divide and conquer something like a bunker if they play the way they have been. So
Yeah.
it's really up in the air as to who's going to have the advantage coming into this map.
Yeah, it really depends too on the nature of how much you can divide and conquer it and just how tight people want to play. But I mean, Blizzard World provides high ground opportunities. Like you said, it does provide the opportunity to kind of set up those sort of more stayed, set in their ways comps like a double shield, if that's something you want to bring to the table. First point enables a little bit of Torbjorn play too, if that's something that you're interested in bringing out. All very interesting variations that could kind of change Chimp Club's approach. But I mean, again, something that was a little bit lacking from them too on Lijiang Tower was the adaptability, right? I don't think we saw a lot of flexing, counter picking, what have you. They just kind of stuck on one thing and ran it until it didn't really work anymore.
Yeah, pretty much. So I guess there's some concern in that regard. But we'll get a good idea this map, because sometimes control is just the outlier in a series. We've seen it in the Overwatch League plenty of times where one team will take the first map of control and then the rest will just be a complete stomp 3-0, 3-1. So it's hard to say. Sometimes teams just aren't good on control, and while that is the onus is on them to get good at control, it can very much be an outlier in playstyle and success. What is this?
I think that's bait right there. I'm thinking
Probably.
I don't see Chaos coming out here on a Bastion anytime soon. Yeah, more than eyes on the side though. Straight McCree brawl, so running a very close to the vest sort of composition no matter what. Here is Team Grim. On the other side though, I mean, they're still showing Bastion, but now the swaps are starting to come in. It does look like double bubble, but Chaos, yeah, there we go.
Okay,
He's
yeah.
over to the Echo now. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think you run double bubble like that.
I mean, you can try. It won't work, but it'll be funny regardless. But yeah, the spam damage from the Echo is arguably comparable to a Bastion if you play it correctly. So I expect to see a decent amount of angles be coming up. Yeah, you see Hanzo's and Echoes up here all the time. The DPS from Chimp Club probably just going to chill here until they get some ultimates or an opening like that.
Yeah, indeed. You see the sticky mines coming out. Good guy losing the mech early on here, and that's going to create some big openings there. I say that, though, and Pongo gets taken out by the baby Jason right there to trade it back out on Hydrangea, which is all good and fine if they can really take advantage of it, but they are in a bit of a difficult situation lacking Pongo's presence. Now, the ducking around the corner here, a very solid anti-nade in right there, and they will get Yif taken down. So well done indeed. Chaos swings the quarter here. Toasty Toast walks around as well. Chaos just playing the off angles. Chaos getting a casual 3K, making a 4K. Chaos wants one more, and he will find it. 5K there for the Echo player.
He already has duplicate. He's looking pretty going into this next point. And they have the nano for Pongo if they really wanted to. They have a sort of an embarrassment of riches in terms of ultimates on the Chimp Club, so they can really just invest whatever they feel like as long as it's a reasonable combo, but they need to make sure they survive long enough to use them. However, okay, never mind. I was going to say they have Blizzard on the defense, but that doesn't matter anymore.
Oh, Gif went down. They're just going to try and finish this. Chaos comes charging in. He goes too far, though. He won't finish the pin. But that's okay. Triumphant died anyway. They're still applying the pressure over the top here. Chaos finds another one. Jason gets one. Chaos once more. The DPS coming alive, electrified here on Blizzard World's second point.
Realistically, that's what they're gonna have to do, especially because they don't have too many support ultimates quite ready yet. Pew Pew's a little bit a ways from his rally, and Team Grim has basically 6 ultimates, if I'm being honest, so they're gonna need to find these early picks, which they're looking for.
No, Primal Monkey's trying to juggle him into the lake. I don't think he's gonna make it happen. No, run, Pongo. Good lord, he needs to get out. He went too deep. He was in 6 layers deep right there, but he manages to find his way free. Unfortunately, can't be said of Chaos, who does go down, and now Toasty Toast is left, controlling the front line right there by themselves. No. Chew and Good Guy getting some picks. Yif gets on the action as well, and Triumphant has not stopped swinging that hammer for about 10 seconds straight. Will finally confirm the kill onto the Zarya.
A little bit of an ambitious grab from Toasty Toast. As funny as it is to solo grab the Lucio, I think you might want some follow-up, because a measly 30 charge is not going to kill the frog, as it were. But, ignoring that, they did manage to get basically 4 ultimates out from Team Grim. They really only have the bomb, which they're investing right now, and the beat... Okay.
Truncated little bomb over the top there. Catches Toasty Toast and Pongo on their heels. Both of them will die. The follow-up, the aggression coming back in. They're just cleaning up. No survivors there because they're trying to hunt down Chaos in the back line now. And Chaos is running over to the StarCraft store, just trying to make an escape. Not quite able to find it. They're chasing him down. Chaos is finally dead. But in his death, he bought some space, so it wasn't entirely wasted.
Yeah, and the Echo will be back rather soon. Personally, I wish we had player comms for that moment the bomb killed both tanks on the side of Chimp Club, because it was such a leisurely placed bomb that it felt almost unreal.
It was. A very, very gentle arc. The shatter coming in, that was not gentle. The damage applied straight to the forehead of Jason and Toasty Toast right there, and well, that's looking like a little bit of a hard hold here for the defense. Still 2 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock, though, Acronator, so they got some time to play with.
Oh, absolutely. That's the benefits of capturing first point as quickly as they did. So Chimp Club has the ability to take a few dry fights, which they've basically done forcibly, not necessarily by their own choice, but they have the ability to now invest a few ults they built up.
Amplification Matrix coming out, and speaking of investing ults, there's a nano boosted monkey there in the back line, but it runs out at just the wrong time. Pongo does go down. There's a duplicated D.Va here as well. D.Va just trying to build up that ultimate and get that bomb off, and they do so. You'll see Jason does manage to get a kill, but Good Guy is right there trading it back out. Now Jason and Chaos, though, the DPS again making some waves on the front line. Jason's got more to add, and Hydrangea, the last victim to fall, and once more the DPS really popping here and trying to drive this one home. Guard is completely separated off and just annihilated right there. And the rest of the crew for Team Grim is just beating full retreat. They're going to try and regroup here, but they're barely given any time. I can't even pass it over to Acronator because they're still applying the pressure. Hydrangea does take Pongo again, a familiar sight in this day and age, but Triumphant will just back up here and finally some breathing room.
Yeah, there was a really aggressive rally there from Pew Pew at the very end of second point, and I was wondering why they did it, but pressing it as far as they did right there makes a little bit more sense. Oh dear, but Chaos falling early is probably going to be most of the fight, but wait, stabilization? Oh dear.
Oh, ow, is Jason still alive? 8 health! The sound barrier invested on the side of Team Grim to breathe life back into them. Jason currently questioning the miracle that is his existence. He's got a high noon. He doesn't have the opportunity defuse it. He gets very aggressive, pops it right there. It's a good May wall in. He's just going to see if he can wait it out for as long as possible. He does not find any joy off the back of that, but the amplification matrix is out here. Still, they've done good on the push here. Jason going to go ahead and play around on the flank, look for a cheeky kill. He won't quite find it. The jump is there on the backside. Chew managing to finish off Chaos. Yif turns around and helps take down Pongo, but now the pressure coming back on the front line, and there's a nano boosted Zarya there, almost as the world's most aggressive kind of bodyguard, trying to get the rest of the team back and shepherd them to safety. Triumphant falls dangerously low, but it's Pew Pew who dies in the midst of all of it.
If Pew Pew didn't die there, they might have been able to push in onto that really good anti-nade from Wesley, but unfortunately losing your brig in that situation is just a complete disengage. Hydrangea tossing in the high noon just to make sure that no one gets too brazen. Besides Pongo, that's just to be expected at this point.
Well, the amplification matrix is out here. Chaos does have the clone Diva, but I don't think they're going to be able to hit the ult. They are not. They get taken out of the Diva mech very quickly, forced in the duplicate. They will still manage to escape with their life. Unfortunately, it's a bit of a wasted ultimate ult there, all things considered. Yif now sitting on top of the Blizzard. That's an absolute game changer here in the pocket of the May, if they can get it off at the right point in time. And they're taking very cagey engagements now on both sides. Yif just looking for the opportunity, wants to find it, throws it in, heads towards the back line. Oh, Toasty Toast there, caught looking. Pew Pew will go down as well. You see Triumphant just come surging into the front line. Meanwhile, Pongo trying to apply a little bit of pressure to guard, but not finding it. 30 seconds left on the clock.
One of the major difficulties that Chimp Club is having is that you see Pongo engaging with the jump pack for Winston, when realistically, most of the time you're going to want to be disengaging with the jump pack. So it's really creating a situation where he's taking so much damage before he has any opportunity to get out.
Grab does come in, but Bomb finds Wesley in the back line. Still, they're trying to fight it out over at the front. Toasty Toast in here does have the rally armor as well. That's a very good bubble there onto the Winston to try and just usher him forward here. They have to play very cagily around the cart because there is that amplification matrix up. You see the pressure being applied there for Chaos for a brief second, but he'll fall back. Triumphant hits a big shatter, and that'll be the rest of the team coming in behind him, but Triumphant nearly dies in the meantime. Still, Pongo and Wesley down, Toasty Toast added to the pile. And that should just about do it here. A desperate last touch in from Jason, but it won't be enough. They're just dancing around the point. The dance macabre at the moment. They still haven't quite managed to find him yet. And okay, Wesley's back in now, and he'll take over it, changing partners here for a little while. And that'll add a wrecking ball to the equation. But I think just a little bit, that Blizzard might just put an end to all of this. Still bodies fighting here on the point. Pongo goes up and does go down. Toasty Toast will follow out as well. So it was a beautiful sustain here for a while on the side of Chimp Club, but all good things must come to an end. The dance is over. They turned on the lights in the club, and Team Grim don't like who they're standing next to you.
Triumphant built 2 shatters in that final fight, just to point that out. So I guess that's what happens when you're allowed to hold M1 on Reinhardt for like a minute straight, minute and a half, give or take. Not a bad push if you're the Chimp Club, though. Didn't quite get to the final approach, but on the final turn, no less, and definitely defendable. Not as easy as if they had gotten it a little bit closer to the very end of third point, but possible at the very least.
Possible. Defendable. You know, you can do this. This is doable. Not an ideal scenario, right? You definitely want to go all if you can, but not to be. 98.54 the number. Now we get to see a little bit of a look on the defense here for Chimp Club, and they are showing us the double bubble again, this time on the defensive side, and I don't actually disagree with that, if I'm going to tell you the truth, Acronator, because the double bubble from them has looked relatively affected. I'm not sure that I agree with Chaos not playing the Echo, though, because I felt like the Echo was kind of a difference maker there.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a lot easier to find that value on the Echo as opposed to the Pharah. It's a similar argument to say like an Ashe versus a Widow. The Echo just has more utility than the Pharah, a lot more ability to close out kills, I guess you could say, with the Death Ray. But Team Grim over onto almost a stereotypical Brawl aside from the Widowmaker instead of the McCree, but it might just be in a really jump shot and then go swapping.
Well, a lot of pressure going to be on Chaos here to make some with this Pharah. That's going to be the main source of damage in composition. I say that, you'll notice Jason is here trying to get some shots in as well, but Pongo has actually gone on a strike deep behind enemy lines. He'll come jumping back in on the support, does a good little jump there. Fun little bit of Winston tech to extend the jump just a bit, but Pongo is taking a lot of damage here, has to back up to the mine building to get the heal in. Chaos, though, takes some damage of their own. Still, it's Guard who does die, so they find the elusive support kill right off the bat. Unfortunately, Pew Pew and Chaos die at the exact same time. Pongo and Toasty Toast trade it out, just trading kills left and right, and at the end, it's just Hydrangea here, the last one left alive, trying to find anybody that they can take the head off of, but it is not forthcoming.
Hydrangea definitely did their darndest to try and open up that point, but unfortunately there's only so much a Widowmaker can do. Still trying, finding kills left and right, being very dangerous for Chaos. As you can see, the health consistently getting rather low. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to take down the Chimp Club's tank line as well, as that is the primary source of stickiness in their defense.
Well, again, over the top is Chaos, again getting pressured there by the Diva, but really the storyline is Hydrangea and gets another Pongo, forced to use the Primal here to jump back onto the point. It's Chaos with the Pharah saving the day, comes in with the barrage and adds Hydrangea to the tally as well. A huge combination there from the TPS and the tank to keep it alive here on first point.
It's very often that you'll see something like a defensive ultimate or a defensive cooldown like a Zarya bubble be comboed with a barrage for a Pharah, because it's literally just a press Q and die button sometimes. But a Primal like Winston causing a whole lot of chaos everywhere on the field is a pretty good way to distract everyone, to allow the barrage to find that value that you otherwise wouldn't be able to get without any defensive cooldowns online. Early Matrix, oh dear.
Oh dear. That's going to be 2 with the bomb from Good Guy, and then Hydrangea gets a double kill as well. So double kill is the name of the game. Up and over up here comes Pongo, trying to play off the back of Wesley's anti-nade. Does manage to get some kills with it, but unfortunately now Pongo and Wesley are stuck there for a moment before they choose the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, however, they did manage to wear down the clock, and in the second point there's the potential to wear down the clock more. And realistically, that's all they want to do. They don't necessarily need to win the game right now. It would be great if they could, but that opportunity has now sailed for the time being. So I would expect to see probably the Blizzard come out from Yif sometime soon, and Jason probably wants to toss out the Bob once they do re-engage to contest the cart.
It's Wesley who strikes early, takes out the opposite number support. Now they're trying to get this Bob in here to cause as much hassle as possible. Chaos does manage to get one. They got Chu basically trapped out looking. Jason goes ahead and finishes up a couple of kills, but Wesley falls prey to Hydrangea, who's playing stealthy assassin back here somewhere before Toasty Toast susses him out.
I think a little bit of the problem there that Team Grim probably had is that Hydrangea was on a rather aggressive flank. And that's a lot of damage that's no longer in the front line for Team Grim. Actually have a few swaps coming in for them. So Hydrangea's back over to the Widowmaker, but Yif is now on to the McCree. So they are going to have a lot to deal with Chaos, as well as be able to answer Jason in the sniper duel. The question is, are they going to be able to find those kills as necessary, as I say that.
Good Guy shuts down Chaos right there with a little bit of help from the hit scan. The nano boosted Primal Raging Winston is pinned into a wall by Triumph and then finished off there. Triumphant emerging triumphant on the lines. And that will allow them to continue to push forward here. He even manages to catch the anti-nade on the block. And basically Chimp Club just going to backpedal, give up some ground, regroup. They still have some ults to play with here, though. Unfortunately, Chaos is just feeling pressure after pressure after pressure. That's a good little loop there to pick up the Mercy. They just need to use this barrage and kind of give up the ghost here on this Pharah.
Possibly, seeing a little bit of a cheeky flank in the backline, and Jason winning the sniper duel. He has been lighting up the kill feed quite a lot.
It's coming. I feel it. I feel it by the pricking of my thumbs. Something barrage this way comes, but the only victim is Guard, and they'll also lose the second point. So really, a little bit of a build-up there for very little payoff. Kind of unfortunate, all things considered. And the payload will just continue going forward, and I feel jilted, shall I say, Acronator, jilted right there by that.
We do have a decent amount of ultimates coming online for Team Grim, so if they wanted to close this out, this is the perfect opportunity, especially with Pongo on half health. Already used his bubble. Early bomb coming in. No way. Oh dear.
Wow, good guy again slips in a double kill on another searching gentle arc bomb. Just goes sailing in and finds kills, and now the pressure applied right at the spawn door. Here comes everyone straight up into their faces. Yif just cleaning up here. Good guy gets in on the action too because he shall not be forgotten. Yif is just waiting here at the spawn doors, takes some damage and rolls back, and this is not looking particularly good, and that is the end. Team Grim picks up map 2.
Oof. I gotta give a lot of credit to Yif there for having the flexibility to swap over from the Mei and the traditional flex DPS over to a hard hit scan. I mean, McCree is just about as hit scanny as it gets. And he performed rather well in that role, allowing Hydrangea to take over the Widow once again and try and contest Jason into that sniper duel, because Jason on the Ashe was causing quite a lot of havoc, and you saw once the double hit scan came out from Team Grim, it felt a little bit more even in terms of DPS versus DPS.
It did feel a little bit more. At the end of the day, it is Team Grim that emerges victorious on Blizzard World. Still more to this match to go. It is the first of 3. We'll be right back with a continuation of this Expert Division matchup after this. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back here to Expert Division of GitGud Season 7. I am Cormac, joined by Acronator, and it is a matchup between Chimp Club and Team Grim, but Team Grim has already taken a relatively convincing 2-0 in the series here. Chimp Club struggling just a little bit to make ends meet at this point in time, Acronator.
Yeah, they're playing extremely aggressive dive whenever they get the opportunity, but it's not really panning out for them. There's a bit of a disconnect between their front line and the rest of the team, and it's causing for these disjointed fights, right? They have these moments of brilliance where the dive works really well, their DPS are popping off, but then there's times where it's not, where, say, the defense has a spawn advantage, and it gets a little bit more difficult to have the target focus required to push the card or push the objective just that little bit further. So that's the main reasons I'm seeing that Team Grim is thus far on match point. Not unwinnable, especially considering the fact that we're going to Watch Point Gibraltar, which is the dive map out of all maps.
Yeah, Watch Point Gibraltar, the dive map, as you said, right? And it's a good place for double bubble too. The thing that they've, been liking over that Chimp Club side. That being said, though, I mean, Team Grim has shown that they have the capacity back to him too, to a certain extent, and is just looking a little bit tighter in their fights in general, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. They're finding more value out of their ultimates thus far. They're just playing that tiny bit better. And the Chimp Club just has to play catch up thus far. You know, they did almost fully capture Blizzard World, but at the same time, Team Grim pushed it that 0.1 meter or whatever further, so they managed to take that map. So coming into Watch Point Gibraltar, it's going to be a question of, is their proficiency with dive going to be enough to push them over the edge, and is that going to be enough in general to carry them further in this series?
Yeah, that is going to be the question, right? If there's ever a time back, it is on a dive favored map, just because they have shown pretty good competency on that side. I think one of the telling things that we time too was when their DPS were really cooking. That was when the team was doing level best, right? We saw moments where it was kind of the chaos show to a certain extent, and he would just push the line forward, and the follow-up would be there from the other DPS, and that was it. I mean, that was the ideal, right? That was when they felt most in the zone, when neither Jason or Chaos were really getting things off. Well, that felt a little bit more kind of contained, not as strong. Let's just put it like that.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of compositions, we're going to see what Team Grim wants to run out with first, because they're in the defense. Chimp Club can do their trademark memeing if they feel like it. Nothing too shocking coming out from Chimp Club quite yet, but on the defense, interesting that we're seeing a Wrecking Ball composition. Wrecking Ball Roadhog, no less. In terms of the supports and DPS, nothing too shocking. I am curious to see how they're going to actually engage onto the points. Unless they just want to wait for the card to push, like, up the hill, underneath the bridge and up through the hill, and that's where they'd engage. Otherwise, it's just going to be a poke war to start things out. Okay, yeah, Chimp Club doing the early Orisa halt hook combo just to see if anyone's holding a bit too close to the door for comfort, but that's probably not going to be the case, so they're going to go back and swap to a more standard comp afterwards.
Sure enough, out comes the grab. Nothing to be found there. Everybody back inside, changed up, right back through the door. They try. They are going to have a little bit of trouble here diving into a Roadhog, right, on the side of this kind of hog and ball and chain, whatever you want to call it. There's another word for it. We use that here because it's a family-friendly podcast, but already the hook coming in right there, and it whips Pongo up to the high ground. Fortunately, the peel was there in the form of Toasty Toast, who came in and preserved the Winston's life. Hydrangea in some dangerous situations right here, but Jason will go down in the midst of all of that. So already the DPS being taken off the board. A very aggressive push here from Toasty Toast as well, just trying to clear some points here, but it's Wesley who dies. Unfortunate, despite the space that the tanks are seemingly making on the high ground, the kills do not fall their way, and now Toasty Toast is just waiting here for their partner in crime.
Yeah, Chimp Club are going to have to wait for everyone to get back so they can re-engage. A little bit of a scary poke there from Toasty Toast, probably was fearful of the hook.
Well, the hook is right to be feared, but it's a very good here on the Roadhog. Everybody's going to pile on there because the very charge, not some kill there too. And now they might feel a bit more boldened in their attack. They do have one body on cart, and now they have guard down as well. Pongo goes for the high ground check. There's not anybody up there, so a little bit of a miscommunication, but the Winston, happy to hold on there at least temporarily, as Triumphant is taken out. Jason, however, will not be able to sustain. Hydrangea gets a good hit in there with the dynamite. Pongo is in a lot of danger here, but the cart is still surging forward. They're going to invest the nano boost now onto Pongo and try and clear some room for him. Toasty Toast booped up into the air by the bomb, but will continue to fight. Drops the bomb in here as well, and it's 2 for Toasty Toast. That's Yif and Good Guy both cleared off the point. The res will come in whether they like it or not. Yif does get back in on the action. Meanwhile, Hydrangea untouched, continuing to chunk out damage here as guard goes down just one more time. Now Jason applying the pressure straight on here with the Tracer, going in for these close range kills, but they're quickly running out of bodies here as the minefield comes in, and as a Diva Bomb comes on the other side. Pongo sacrifices his life to block it with his body, but there was a pointless sacrifice as Jason gets hooked in and killed.
Beautiful hook there at the very end. Wesley has good potential to get staggered here as he is alone and they know where he is, but the peel is there. I have a few swaps coming in as well. Chaos over to the Hanzo now. So coming into this, it's going to be a little bit difficult for the Chimp Club to find someone to dive aside from probably Hydrangea and guard, but as you can imagine, the peel is likely to be there specifically from Yif, so they're going to have to find a way to get everyone in there and focus down that target. Oh, that's a good start. Maybe less good now.
Maybe less good indeed. It's a nano boost here. Yif comes charging in, but instead he gets slept. Oh no! A real riches to rag story right there, as back comes Pongo onto the point. Guard again, who's really struggling to stay alive on this Anna. Good Guy spins around, gets the hook, pulls Jason in and brings him down. But you'll see Toasty Toast here on the Diva trying to make some hash out of what's left here, and it will be poor cash tonight at least, because down goes Good Guy. That will clear the point, and this tricky first part of Gibraltar is done and dusted as Guard dies yet again.
You know, you keep mentioning Guard dying, and it reminded me something from the team sheet, where Guard self-admittedly says that they play, quote, Baptiste and sadly Ana, so I don't think that's their favorite hero to play, and as you can imagine, it's a very min-maxy hero, so you have to be favorable with that hero to get the most out of it. You have to be willing to put in that time, so probably not the comfort zone for the misfortunate flex support.
Chaos does go down early here, and I do feel bad for poor Guard. I'm not calling him out or anything. It's just that he does tend to get killed on that Ana. He's not having a very good time. Speaking of not having a very good time, well, that could be applied to Pew Pew right there. The support in trouble in that particular instance just gets driven up the stairs. Yif does have the Diva Bomb here. Will choose to use it. There's a minefield in here as well, and Pongo, he's just wiped out of existence right there. A nano-boosted baby Diva running around in the midst of everything, and one of the more questionable nanos I've seen in Overwatch. as Gift flies back up to the high ground and takes some well-earned rest.
It's going to be really difficult for Chimp Club to find the angles they want to at this point, because neither of these compositions are necessarily as like hard engagey as, say, like a Brawl composition, or if they're running a more standard double bubble, and Gibraltar is very unforgiving if you aren't capable of taking and holding space. So it's really going to be on the tanks to like take this spaceship, for example, and force the enemy DPS off and not die in the process.
Well, the pressure coming down now here, putting it immediately on the back of that Roadhog, but so far, Good Guy has just remained kind of an inviolate rock here, incapable of being shifted, and he continues to demonstrate it right there by getting a double Q. Pew Pew and Chaos both down, 55 seconds left here. Good Guy falls back. He was anti-nated briefly, but it was not enough to shut him down. It's a good sleep right there, an ambitious hook from Good Guy over the top, but it won't find anything. Good Guy starting to back up here, just trying to play off this Wrecking Ball as best he can.
Despite this, I believe, being their map pick for Chimp Club, they seem to be a little bit uncertain of what to run or how to play for this point, because you saw Chaos swapping over from a few different things, eventually landing on the Reaper, so I'm not sure what their plan is here.
Oh,
okay.
Toasty toast! That was the plan, or maybe it wasn't, but it doesn't matter, because the bomb comes sailing in, and then Toast gets another one there as well. And that one bomb has broken this open. There will not be a recontest, and there'll be some short spawns here to clean up. Guard, he doesn't even want to go through it again. He just kills himself right there. Good Guy, though, he'll start running away, and they might not actually catch any of these short spawns, so it's actually a well-played retreat there on the side of Team Grim. That could have been significantly worse.
Yep. I believe got caught out and ended up using the duplicate onto Pongo just to get out alive, which I suppose is worth it, but at the same time you wonder if that would have been more valuable to just reset and wait for an opportunity to get a better engagement.
You would think so, but Yif backing up here, going towards the spawn, and well, Hydrangea did get caught kind of in rotation, and they're just kind of going to play this one a little bit safe here as Yif. He's going to look for cleaning up a kill on the high ground, but instead it'll be Pongo who falls. Good Guy OJ continuing to be kind of an oppressive presence with this Roadhog.
Yeah, definitely, and that's really how he's just going to protect his team, by making the enemy tanks and enemy DPS respect his hook distance a little bit more. Realistically, he has no other peel other than that. We do have a little bit of a ambitious teleport up to the high ground from Chaos.
Ambitious is one word for it. Here is Good Guy OJ now has the nano boost and surges forward. Chaos is just deleted, wiped from the face of the earth right there. Hydrangea and Yif both getting in on the action. Hello, Diva Bomb, and he pulls it into himself. Oh, Roadhog, no, you can't eat that. That's bad for you. Anyway, just think of the MSGs. Toasty Toast here gets 2 kills on the top of that as Triumphant comes spinning around, and typical Wrecking Ball poise here does not yet have the slam to make it count. Triumphant is deleted because Chaos is back, and he wants to live up to the name here and get a little revenge as well. Yip pops that duplicate there and tries to fight this one out. Can they hold out long enough to get the clone? They cannot, as Yip the Fox is burned out and burned down, and it's Chaos in the midst of all the action, quite literally in this case, creating a chaotic fight on the point and punching his team forward for the completion.
A little bit hairy there towards the middle part of second point, but once they got into third point, back out into the open where I think Chimp Club wanted to be, they felt a lot more comfortable and more like they had a plan other than just kind of ramming their heads up against a brick wall hoping that a Diva Bomb gets a 3k, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Hey, sometimes the best plans are the ones that you don't even know about, because if you don't know what they're doing, and they're never going to know what you're doing, right? So it's just, it's all happens. It's how the magic is made right there.
However, Chimp Club did play a really solid offense on first point.
However, Acronator says, planning actually is good. Don't listen to him. You're right. They did play very solid. I thought they did quite well, honestly, especially on that third and first points. They looked pretty good.
Yeah, so I have to wonder if Team Grim is going to have any trouble on this first point, especially towards the end, where it's a giant open area where they can just contest the point where for what seems like forever, especially if they build up the Primal Rage. You have Chaos on the Soldier. Interesting pick, although it looks like Team Grim might actually be wanting to run out on this. Granted, they are on offense, so they have like 10 seconds to swap off or even do the halt hook.
They wouldn't, would they? I don't know that they would. No, they will.
Okay, yeah.
Damn the torpedoes. They're going in. They're getting Hydrangea set up on top of that spaceship, and they're riding this bad boy for as long as they can. Hydrangea unfortunately flubs the jump right there, but will drop. The protection is in. And now something not akin to Black Hawk Down occurs as they try and force a convoy through a narrow street path. You'll see Hydrangea just get annihilated. Toasty Toast drops in and finishes off as well. And, well, you ever heard of the Legend of Icarus? Because that's about getting punished for your hubris, too.
I think Hydrangea saw the game earlier on stream and thought he could pull an oatmeal, but unfortunately this is GM and not Plat, so the players are considerably better at punishing that sort of thing, especially when you have a Tracer and a Monkey straight on your face. But we're seeing a little bit more of a standard composition now with the Hanzo Kree. Okay, well, less of the Hanzo now.
The thing is, though, even though that was a dismal failure, the card is still going. They have not stopped it. It continues to push there. I believe it was Good Guy who just kept walking it forward. So despite all the effort that was made in taking down the Bastion, look out there. Whew, Wesley, your life just flashed before your eyes. I'm not even sure you even noticed it right there as Hydrangea playing up in the server room here, feeling the pressure from multiple angles. Guard does manage to take down Toasty Toast. Hydrangea trying to duel a Tracer, fires the flashbang off, but at short range as Yif just cleans up 2 kills. The contest isn't even in the server room, so it's crazy that much time is being devoted to it, but I think Chaos. That maybe signals the end there as Chaos is just burned down, and a last-minute touch from Toasty Toast is not enough.
Rather demanding offense from Team Grim, and they did it in one of the most unorthodox ways. Oh, Jason is going to get staggered out more than likely. nice cleanup there from Hydrangea, but Team Grim managed to like split themselves almost a 3v3. Where you had 3 far back towards their spawn, and then other 3 just pushing the cart, allowing the fight to take place in the back, because they didn't care. They were getting objective control.
They were indeed getting objective control, but there comes another bomb over the top. Unfortunately, it won't find anybody. Pongo drops into the pit now and is immediately stunned and immediately loses almost all his health. Goodbye, Pongo. It's been nice. I hope you find your paradise on the other side, man, because it's not right here. Hydrangea pushing forward now, does manage to get Toasty out of the mech and then toast him right there, and they are just steaming forward. There is no breaks right now on Team Grim's chain.
They have families.
They do.
Already you have Team Grim investing what feels like minimal ultimates for a lot of value.
It does kind of feel that way, and they might get a little bit as well. Good Guy drops down. You hear the high noon being deployed there by Hydrangea. That's Pongo who's just annihilated there one more time. The hook comes from downrange. Goodbye, Chaos. Hello, Good Guy OJ. And they are just surging through 5 minutes on this third stage, and they look like a team possessed.
A Good Guy in particular has been landing these hooks non-stop, and that's not easy to do, especially because right now he's playing the role of the main tank. He needs to make space just by finding hooks and punishing them, and most of the time you would expect that you'd need follow-up on top of the hooks, but it's really just him getting solo kills. Pongo actually decides to follow suit, so you have a Roadhog Diva composition coming out for the defense. Oh dear.
Oh dear indeed. They're still trying to fight this one forward. Pongo looking for a hook now on the other Roadhog. He counter-hooked. Oh, you just can't pull the tricks that Good Guy is pulling on Good Guy. Still Toasty Toast manages to get a bomb up and over, and Chaos does get a good pick there onto his opposite number. So a Widowmaker duel in the midst of all of this insanity as the Gravitic Flux comes in. That's the Diva Mech slapped out right there. Good Guy OJ will go down. So the central rock of the defense is broken here, but Hydrangea does have that shooting position. You'll see Chaos manages to land 1, not 2 shots right there. Hydrangea goes down, so the Widowmaker duel continues to play in favor of Chaos, who now has bigger sightlines and another sniper to bring down. What a shot there from Chaos. The rest of the team might be reeling, but this man has ice in his veins.
Already he has the sights as well. The Hydrangea's only about halfway there. I believe he used it late in the second point, so there's going to be a distinct advantage in terms of knowledge for the Chimp Club. They're going to be able to stop any flanks, so Team Grim are sort of forced to be a little bit more earnest with their approach for the next couple of seconds. Oh, okay. What just happened?
Hydrangea finally wins the sniper duel, but it's with the help of 3 people. I will add that to the total here as Yif begins to push forward. And now the whole hog coming out. Pongo just trying to create space, and it actually does that in spades. Unfortunately, Pongo will not survive the effort. A nano-boosted D.Va comes flying in. The D.Va bomb goes out, and Yif is killed right there. Hydrangea, though, still uncontested here for now on the Widowmaker, continuing to put shots in, but it's Triumphant who gets beat down. The sound barrier was invested there from Chu, but it was way too little too late.
Yeah, I think Shu might be wanting that sound barrier back, as it really didn't accomplish anything, and they could have used it to push in here. They did take out Chaos now on the Tracer, I think just to stall, but might be sticking onto it now. So Hydrangea might be getting a little bit less contested, which is dangerous, because having a Widow that far back just shooting pot shots is not exactly the best situation for the defense to be in.
They continue to fight here. Triumphant throws in the accretion with the Gravitics above it, and they should be able to make this work. Good guy coming out here with the whole hog firing away. 2 minutes on the clock here. What a good hook there from Good Guy. His hooks have been just on point. Almost every single one confirmed kill. He goes ahead and tries to block the door. Speaking of hooks, though, he will miss that one. Hydrangea, though, still with room to play as the other hit scan gets involved here. The body block on the door right there will be more than enough to seal the deal. Team Grim, 2 minutes, 44 seconds, 1 minute for Chimp Club.
That is a demanding time difference, if you ask me. That's almost triple the time. And on Gibraltar, it's very easy to watch that time go away in the blink of an eye. So Chimp Club is going to have a ridiculous extra round push right here, because this is their last chance. If they can't do this, then they're out of the series 3-0.
And that is the pressure that they must feel. Like the ocean deep kind of weighing down upon them. They mustered a relatively good attack last time. They did take a while, though, to get through that first point. So the question has to be whether they can do it again. They will waste no time dawdling here with any attempted Orisa pulls or hooks or anything like that. They're just going straight into almost a pure dive, basically a pure dive, to go up against Good Guy and Triumphant on that Sigma Hog.
It's a very high-risk, high-reward composition, especially looking at their DPS. A little bit less so now. If Chaos sticks with the Widowmaker, it really is dependent on him hitting those shots, as opposed to Ashe, where he can get a little bit more value with, say, like the Dynamites, to build some more damage there, build up to a Bob if possible, depending on how close Team Grim are playing together. But it is going to be difficult. It's going to come down a lot to this sniper duel, would be my guess.
Indeed, it will be. Pongo here playing tight against these containers, looking for the opportunity to dive in, as Hydrangea does take some damage there, but manages to peel around, just checking for other angles. The cart continuing to push there. Pongo more than happy to absorb some of this damage. Unfortunately, the squishier members of the team are kind of left behind as the cart continues to go. The opportunity is here for the cutoff if they choose to take it, but instead they'll all kind of back up collectively. Hydrangea barely avoiding death right there, falls straight on top of Pongo. There's a brief flurry of shots from the hip, but it just keeps going here. Good Guy OJ now up on the cards, caught himself a deep. Tries to finish her off, but unfortunately it does not occur. The Tesla gun there blasting away on the front line as Good Guy OJ just deletes Pongo from existence. And the swelling of the music there means that time is nearly up. Hydrangea unaccompanied on the high ground, or I should say uncontested on the high ground, gets some shots in, but can they get the car any faster? They've got a little bit of room to play with here because Triumphant is down, but Hydrangea just takes Wesley's head off. Good Guy OJ is still here, still fighting. Hydrangea drops in, continuing to fight. The amplification matrix is here. The baby D.Va is down. Pongo is back, but too late to make a significant difference. The baby D.Va trying to keep it alive for as long as possible, and that will be that. So almost the end of first point will be the distance.
Definitely defendable, but not easy to defend, especially not for 3 whole minutes, because now you're talking a definitive ult phase of this round, as opposed to, maybe some people get ultimates, maybe some don't in the previous round, because it's just a minute. It's going to be significantly harder. I wouldn't be shocked to see Chimp Club run out on something a little bit more sticky, possibly like a bunker or a standard brawl, or at the very least see them play a lot less risky, because they can't anymore. They really don't have that much leeway to work with.
No, they really don't. I mean, I think the critical right there, they don't have leeway, right? Everything has to be perfect. You cannot give up fights. You cannot do what they did the first time around, which was win the initial engagement, but not double back to kind of deal with cart. That I think was a critical error, and something that they really got punished for.
Yeah, definitely. They're coming out on basically the same thing they ran out with on this just previous round on their second offense, which isn't terrible. They're going to have to play it a little bit better and play it a lot more carefully. They're going to have to pick a target and just destroy them, whether that means guard on the Baptiste using Lamp and then diving in onto that, possibly Hydrangea getting out of position so that he's diveable. But either way, they need to pick a target, and that target needs to melt significantly faster than they have thus far.
Yeah, it does need to, and we'll see what they muster here. Jason on the high ground already sees Doom approaching, but it'll be Chaos who dies first, and that was not a kill that they could afford to surrender so early on. That'll force the revive out. Pongo, though, he's playing a dangerous game of PKCs with that Reaper, and he will jump back to the rest of the team. Yif denied the kill, at least temporarily. He's back up there, looking to continue the fight, but it's the hook in. Oh no, Pongo dropped into the middle of the team. Pongo jumps out, 55 health on the docket. Pongo somehow still alive. But a hair-raising moment there for the main tank player as Chaos finally strikes and strikes hard. Jason now, the one who's in trouble here on basically a sliver of health, ducks down and picks up the mini health back to continue fighting as Chaos adds one more, and Chaos has come alive right here in order to defend this last point.
He really needs to. He built up Bob incredibly fast. It looks like they're going to... Yep, okay, that was a good stagger onto Chu. That's going to kill at least 15 more seconds for them to get it all together once again. You do have some swaps coming in, mostly Triumphants off of the off of the... What was he on? Sigma and onto the Wrecking Ball. So we're seeing a little bit more of a standard composition from Team Grim. A little bit stickier, I suppose. We're seeing a little bit split from Chimp Club, but it seems to be working for them for now. The Nano Boost coming in onto Pongo. We'll find an early pick, and that's really all they need. Do have, I think that's Yif over by the mini health pack. Yeah, he's just chilling there. He can't peek out yet.
Yeah, they just got to win the game of attrition here, right? If they can just get a kill or two every time and kind of blunt these attacks. Yif is waiting to commit here, probably if the card any farther forward, or maybe they're waiting for the commitment of somebody like Wesley who has jumped down, and sure enough, that's exactly what was happening. But great peel coming out of Toasty Toast to get in. Whoa, Toasty Toast is hooked around the door frame, does manage to get out with his life. There's a high Nubian, and they actually boop the McCree down. That'll force the Diva Bomb out right here, but Chaos and Pongo combined for some big kills, and this is getting into desperation territory time for Team Grim, who I think thought they had this one in the bag, but it has not been that way at all. Pongo just applying the pressure there and gets good guy out. He will not be able to contest for a good long while. They'll drop in there on top of Yif, completely annihilate the Reaper player. Chu touches and is destroyed as well, and a last minute contest here coming in. It is not over, though Triumphant is melted like so much butter in a microwave, and they will force another map.
It almost felt at times that Team Grim on this final offense was complacent, I want to say. It felt like they weren't really diving like they were supposed to, and that led to the Chimp Club kind of coming alive, especially Chaos, building up 2 Bobs, and that defense was absolutely massive because that's so much contest potential, just sticking this 1000 HP robot auto turret onto the cart and allowing him to worry about the cart not moving anywhere so that they can just worry about winning the fight. It gives a lot more flexibility in terms of what the Chimp Club want to do.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty important aspect of the fight. And also, I mean, big up to, I think, very well. off tanks there. I did a really good job of back on to help Wesley keep him alive at that very last fight, which would have been an absolute disaster if they had done the Ana. And to be honest with you, I feel like Chimp Club looked a bit like a different team on that map. All the cylinders, at least on that last defense in particular, were really firing in tandem. It was great play from the support line, great play from the tanks line. The DPS were getting kills. It was everything they needed to go right was going right. What will be curious to see though, Acronator, is that like a flash in the pan, or is this going to be a consistent change in their play?
Yeah, that is going to be the determining factor going forward in this series. The next map is going to be Temple of Anubis, I believe. Yeah. So this has the potential for draw because Sam Kerr wanted to get out of here to work on other things as well. So of course the series is going to go on as long as possible.
Yeah. I'm
But
not allowed to eat either. That's the they just keep us here for as long as they can. That's fine though. I mean, it's been interesting. I will be honest with you. At the time that we saw Chimp Club take over there on that defense, I did not really expect them to pull out that win. Because Team Grim looked so dominant on their attack. And I mean, all credit going to Good Guy right there playing that Roadhog, just an absolute unit, right? Kind of
yeah.
dominating the battlefield. The hooks were on point. He was getting kills with the scrap gun. He was making plays with his ult. It was everything you would want out of a Roadhog. And at the end of the day, though, he just kind of tapered off, or maybe more realistically, Chimp Club started playing around him. I'm not entirely sure exactly what it was.
Yeah, I think it was a combination of you can't rely on that kind of solo carry potential forever. I think the Philadelphia Fusion with Carpe
Yeah.
is a good example of that.
Yeah.
It can get you far, but it can't win you absolutely everything. And eventually, that adrenaline high, whatever it is that's carrying that insane mechanical prowess, is going to taper off. And keep in mind, all these players are like High Masters, GM. They're going to find a way to counter a Soul Roadhog, and the rest of Team Grim definitely wasn't playing up to that level on their final
No.
attack. It felt like they just got entirely split. They were looking for these solo kills. It looks more like a team deathmatch on the side of Team Grim as opposed to Chimp Club playing the traditional dive and playing it well.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think what basically happened was their first attack was such a smashing success, mostly because they were just racking up kills left and right. That, when the chips were down in that particular scenario, well, that's just kind of what they went back to, right? They're like, oh, well, last time we just got kills, so we just need to get kills again. And you're right, the team play aspect of things sort of fell apart there for them a little bit at the end. And you felt that very much, right? In the way that kind of the disengages weren't happening very quickly. I mean, we saw Pongo who was able to jump forward and take out the Roadhog running away, something that I think wouldn't have even been conscionable earlier on in the matchup. I just don't think we would have seen that, right? So interesting in that regard. On to Anubis, though, and that raises, I think, a whole host of other questions because we can still see Chimp Club come out with this dive. They are called Chimp Club after all, so we would expect them to favor the Winston. And we could see them pull out Winston again here. The double bubble thing has been working, and to a certain extent, the Diva in the pocket was working as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's slowly becoming more and more popular, even in like the Overwatch League for the teams that
Yep.
refuse
Yep.
to
Saw it
play
today.
the
Yeah.
Orisa. You have
Yeah.
those stubborn teams that refuse to lock the battle cow. But I mean, the dive works. It's especially works, say, in like the APAC region of the Overwatch League. So if the Chimp Club want to play it, they do have to play it correctly, especially depending on what Team Grim are playing. So it's very like map and counter pick dependent, but it does work. And if they keep playing like they did in that last defense for Gibraltar, then I could totally see them bringing this series back just a little bit more.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that's going to be the key. Can they channel that fury again, right? That's what them bringing that back out into display. But I mean, it was sorely lacking, right, through their defense here. So that one up and see what they can do with it. They have chosen to start here on the defense, and they are showing us double shield. So that will be the flavor of the month. On the other side, we're seeing a more traditional sort of brawly looking comp, though Hydrangea on the Widowmaker, I think, is a map dependent pick, I would say.
Yeah, it's also in this case going to be point dependent. Widowmaker kind of falls off in her usefulness going into second point.
Yeah,
So if
very
they
true.
do get to second point, I would expect to see that go over to like a McCree or an Ashe. I'm not too shocked to see the double shield. They just want to have a strong defense. Chaos was completely popping off on the Ashe last round, so keep him on that. Let him build up bobs, cause a complete ruckus. Jason can worry about punishing areas and punishing flanks. So it'd be interesting to see how quickly Team Grim can take these rotations, because that'll determine how much damage they take early on.
Yeah, a lot of eyes here on the Junkrat. The trap triggered early on. Jason already sitting at 45% to a tire.
Oh, wow.
Hydrangea, however, finds Chaos, and that is a key pillar of the defense going down early on. Jason is pressured heavily here and will be basically cut off from the team. Needs to regroup as fast as possible, and meanwhile, in that delay that he took getting that damage back online, that results in a couple of deaths. Now, the fight on point looking a little bit grim right here, and even grimmer now because Pew Pew went for the res and couldn't quite find it. They'll lose Jason in midair, and Hydrangea just dominates the first point here. Widowmaker choice looking very wise indeed.
Yeah, they showed flashes of the Widowmaker here and there on Blizzard World. We didn't really get to see too much of it because Jason and Chaos were playing double hit scan, I believe, and that allowed them to answer back a little bit. But now that there's really no long-range hit scan on the side of Chimp Club, Hydrangea is basically just allowed to run around, and the only challenge being finding angles. That's not the worst thing in the world. Oh, but that is.
That is unfortunate indeed.
It's still going.
Held up there,
What?
but Hydrangea cleans up Pew Pew and Chaos in the Widowmaker player. An absolute monstrosity right there, turning lead into gold, at least temporarily for the team. Unfortunately, they won't be able to finish it off. The defense just a little too strong from Chimp Club in the long run, but they have to give respect to this Widowmaker.
Yeah, and it looks like Hydrangea just wants to stick onto the Widow. Like I said before, normally you'd expect to see like a McCree or an Ashe swap, because second point gets a little bit claustrophobic for the extremely long-range hit scan. But it actually has forced Jason, first off, to use the tire to just equalize that fight, and now Chaos is over to the Widow themselves, just to make sure that they can deal with Hydrangea.
Hydrangea continuing to hold that middle lane, but the pressure is coming in on the left-hand side. It's a very good amplification matrix there. The Gravitic Flux coming in. It actually forces Toasty Toast inside, where he will get stunned before the Gravitic will come down. Still, Chaos wins the sniper duel, and Jason gets another pick in, and when these DPS start cooking, this Chimp Club team looks pretty solid. It's a bit of a slow attack here, but they'll use a good pull there to try and trap Yif in here. They just want to kill him, and they do, so Yif will not complete that Blizzard just yet, but next fight, Acronator, that could be a factor.
Yeah, definitely. I would fully expect Jason to hold on to the tire until the Blizzard comes out, just so that they can have something to answer back. If they can get kills to equalize early on in that fight when the Blizzard comes out, then the Blizzard is probably going to have a little bit less. It looks like Chaos was asking in match chat for a, quote, gentleman's agreement for them to play Widow, or not to play Widow, but I don't think that's happening.
Does not appear to have manifested. No gentlemanly fighting here. Pongo holding tight on the backside here. The Blizzard does come out.
Wow.
Pongo will do their best to sustain through it, but Hydrangea and Yif just cleaning up here on the point. 3 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock. They do not want to give this up if they can, but Toasty Toast gets barreled there, and Wesley dies quickly as well, and now just a wait for an attempted recontest as Pew Pew is picked off on the outside edge. Pongo does come swinging back in on the ball. It's very disruptive, but nobody touched. Oh. And that's how that goes.
That's tragic. And I gotta give a lot of credit to Hydrangea there. That's a really unorthodox DPS pick for second point. For first point, it's very much common, but it's so rare that you see someone get that much value on second point Anubis with a Widowmaker. That's quite frankly ridiculous. That he was going relatively even with Chaos in the Widow duels, and towards the end he was winning that Widow duel, getting enough picks, enough damage in there that it really just helped clean up the fight. And Chimp Club really didn't have too much to help with it, to the point where the rest of Team Grim could just not worry about too much. They could just run in and not worry about like anything other than, say, like the Rip Tire, which didn't really yield too much in the way of results, and Team Grim just kind of ran on in, found the kills they needed, and have a demanding time bank now.
They do have quite the time bank. 3 minutes, 11 seconds. Yeah, nothing to scoff at. Hydrangea coming back out on the Widowmaker. Can you really blame him at this point in time? Because, yeah, I would if I was in their position. It's been working out. You'll see Chaos here is going to actually play the Widowmaker back. Jason will be taking the Tracer here. So the double bubble setup going into a much stickier hold there of Triumphant with Good Guy on the Diva. And a lot of this, I think, is going to come down to that sniper duel.
Yeah, realistically, if Chaos can take Hydrangea out of the fight, they don't have a Mercy on the defense, so there's going to be no Resurrection, as opposed to Pew Pew probably just pocketing Chaos in that Widow duel. It doesn't look like Hydrangea's worrying about the Widow right now, as opposed to just chunking down the tanks. It works. I mean, Pongo melted pretty fast.
Yeah, Pongo just not able to sustain there, so that will be a bit of a slowdown, and they'll have to wait to get their Winston back before they can make anything else. Hydrangea still in control of that high ground, but Jason has managed to make their way sneakily all the way into the back line and tries to go forward here, but won't quite find it. Jason doubles back around. The shot there doesn't quite kill him, but Pongo manages to find Yif on the front line, and that's a good pick indeed at this stage. He'll jump right up on top of the supports and the Reinhardt, and down goes Guard. And now the pressure coming fast and furious here as Pongo surges up to the front line. Pongo continuing to pile it on as Winston driving them back into the rooms here. These cubbyhole holds are not ever going to sustain a team for very long. We see that perfectly illustrated right there. So first point is broken.
Now I'm going to be interested to see if these Widowmakers stick on this once again. I don't know if Chaos is going to want to stay on it, aside from the fact that they have the sites, and that's at this high level where teams can actually do something about it. Sites is often, I've heard like Trials levels players say that Sites is the best ultimate in the game, just because of the information it gives, as well as coming up onto a decent amount of ultimates like the Nano for Engage. Pongo has the Primal Toast he's going to have to grab. They have a lot to work with here.
They continue to pressure on. Pongo has that Nano, driving him right back into the spawn. He's killing Chu there as well. He's a primal and grab. It's not the best ult combo in the world, but he's juggling. Poor Triumphant around like a cork on a stormy sea, just getting bounced back and forth. And now Pongo's on top of the Baptiste as well. And Pongo, the Winston, has just been all over the place. He hasn't been racking up the kills necessarily, but he's certainly enabling his team to get them. And now it's stall mode here for Team Grim. They have to try and win this fight out. And the kill on the Toasty Toast there by Yif is very good for doing that. Yif gets another one on Chaos as well. And that should be enough to break this continued attack as Hydrangea just polishes off Jason.
For as dominant as that offense was from Chimp Club going into second point, it felt like they had got closer to full cap. Realistically, though, they only took a little bit more than one tick at 34%. You can see is listed on the board, so they didn't really get as much as they wanted. Ironically, both Widows now going back over to the drawing board, as it were. And Yif actually swapping over to the McCree, probably to just deal with Jason so they could have an answer to that.
The rifle has not stopped firing here from Chaos, but he hasn't quite pulled down a pick yet. He'll transfer up to the high ground and shots there, trying to pick off his opposite number and support. Goes dive. Wesley did die, but he is res back in, so it's still okay. They're still got some room to play with here as Pongo gets that major health pack and jumps back in. He's got the nano boost there. Goodbye, Triumphant. Cannot escape. The vault's coursing through his veins. Jason gets the pulse bomb onto Chu and dies for the effort, but that's okay because the team is here, and I don't think they're going to be denied this time. The immortality field comes out. Baptiste getting shocked. Now he's the next victim of Pongo's bottomless, infamous rage. And he'll start to juggle a Lucio around here as well. Instead, he changes sights back towards the Diva, just trying to do whatever he can with that Primal. Throws out the bubble here on point and provides a little bit of cover for the team. You see the touches coming in from Hydrangea, who cannot sustain for very long. Winston gets knocked off for a split second, comes right back on. The Baptiste here again, and Pongo has just made living hell out of Guard's life right now, because Guard will go down again. Once more, you see Yif come back on the Doomfist, The bomb coming in. The personal bubble is there for Toasty. Toasty trying not to die. Toasty on low health, but the sports will keep him alive through all of that. Pew Pew here as well has the Valkyrie going to give him that extra sustain as Jason comes swinging in on the Doofus. That's 2 kills, but Hydrangea and Guard, they will not let this go, and it'll force the attackers back one more time.
That is quite frankly tragic from Chimp Club. They just started to fail in their target priority and their target focus, and that really comes back to bite you in 2CP. I think that's why a lot of people hate 2CP, is because it's so easy to just lose to that defender's advantage. And realistically, at the very least, they do have a few ultimates coming up online for the offense. They're going to have Space Jam rather soon if they want to use that. And Team Grim doesn't have a ton to work with outside of maybe the beat.
There's the grab coming out, the beat comes in, and Anti-Nade is there as well. The invested into that, and that was a lot of respend in there, but Toasty Toast will die. Pongo popping yet another Primal Rage, going again for a Diva Juggle. Falls back towards the spawn door now, and just continues to fight it out, but he's on 51 health. He still secures a kill, but was it enough? No, it was not. Guard and Chew managed to finish things off, and Chaos is killed in a petulant footnote to the entire fight.
It's getting a little bit hairy for Chimp Club. They really only have about 2 fights remaining. There's still swaps coming in here and there. You have Chaos now over to the Reaper. Realistically, if they wanted to make any of these swaps, it might have been better to do that, about a minute ago, and they still had the opportunity to build up ultimates. It's a little bit more forgiving when it comes to the defense, just because they don't necessarily need the ultimates to win. They just need good target focus. But the offense kind of need ultimates to get through this hump of the spawn advantage.
Diva Bomb coming in from Good Guy, gets 3 and buries that second to last attack. They probably have one more in the tank, assuming Pongo doesn't get staggered too badly, and very much one more attack left here.
Yeah, and when you look at what's on the board, neither team has a ton to work with here. Chimp Club does have a slight advantage in terms of ultimates, just because they're going to have both support ultimates. However, Valkyrie isn't necessarily the end-all, be-all, so it's really just Nano Boost versus the Amp Matrix. Triumphant trying to build up to those mines, which will really just help zone anyone off the point, make it a little bit more difficult for Jason or Pongo to jump around the point as they see fit.
The Nano Boost does come in here, and Pongo's trying to make as much out of it as he can. He hasn't yet secured a kill. He find one onto Chew, but they lead Toasty Toast his mech right there, and it'll die to the minefield. Triumphant gets 2 with the minefield. Jason still trying to fight. He will not abandon the struggle on the point, but he's backed into a corner. He's forced to use the Doomfist ult that hits the statue and clips in, and that'll do it. Triumphant, the hero right there with the huge minefield to save the day, and Team Grim will take this match.
Got really close there at the very end, so at the very least Chimp Club started to warm up towards the end of this series. Gibraltar, obviously, they took somewhat convincingly, and Anubis, they had moments where they almost had it, but they faltered when it really mattered. They couldn't set up the win conditions, the ults, combos, or the just a standard target focus when they really needed to, and Team Grim just inched out that a little bit extra more to take out the series.
Yeah, unfortunately, that little bit of extra focus and that little advantage we're telling day, but Chimp Club not able to get it done here versus Team Grim, a 3-1 win there, and that will do it tonight for this Get Good NA broadcast. Thank you so much for watching. Any final thoughts here, Acronator, before we wrap up?
No, I think I've pretty much said everything I need to say at this point.
All right, well, fair enough. Thank you so much to Acronator for joining me, to our production staff, Samter, DeLuca, Capslock. Thank you guys as well for sticking with us through this very long broadcast, maybe a little bit longer than we were expecting, but we hope you at home enjoyed it. And of course, from all of us here at ELO Hell, thank you for watching and have a wonderful evening.